All right, we're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 11th episode of Aim with DNK. Thank you all for joining me today. I will wait for a couple of seconds for audience to build up, and then we will kickstart today's conversation. And I am absolutely uh, excited for today's conversation because today we're going to talk a lot about sales and acquiring customers. And this is something which is very, very important for all of us to understand because this is something which is going to make or break the entire startup for you. So, yeah, stay till the end, and I have got tons of material for you also to take away after the session, a couple of frameworks, just like all the times. So, yep, I will wait for a few seconds for audience to join and build up, and then we can get started. So, once again, thank you so much for joining today. And yep. Thank you for coming in, and let's get started in a few seconds. And of course, most importantly, before we start, all of those who are joining, I would request if you can in the chat quickly tell me that you are there, type hi, hello, yes, boom, anything in the chat. And also, if you're watching this, do let me know who you are. Give me a brief introduction of yours in the chat. The reason I'm asking you to do so is because I will be then customizing the session for you because it is important for you to understand the entire sales funnel and customer acquisition strategy from your startup point of view, because if you do not understand from your startup's point of view, it will be tough for you to implement, and without implementing this entire strategy, it will be difficult for you to get sales. So I would request all those who are watching and all those joined, and maybe I'll repeat this announcement later on when more people join us. Give me your quick introduction in the chat. Tell me who you are, tell me what you do, tell me what kind of startup are you building, tell me what stage are you in terms of building the company. Tell me if tell me any other problems that you have. Ask me any random questions around your startup, and most importantly, let me know the sales troubles you're facing. This is going to be about all about sales. So it's super going it's super it's super amazing session that I've lined up for you today, and you will have tons of fun in today's episode. Yes, random minds. Like I'm getting what you're saying. Look, comprise my product marketing. Yes, I will tell you hack to go about it. So today, we will talk a lot about money and numbers and sales. Fantastic. So let's get started, guys. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Aim with DNK. Today, it's our episode number 11, acquiring first 100 customers, hacks and secrets. And I'm particularly super excited because today we're going to talk about money, how to acquire customers, how to get sales, how to fix a price point. And I've got a lot of hacks and secrets and frameworks to deliver you just like all the time. So I'm super, super excited, and I would request you to stay till the end, and also keep asking me your questions, and also keep on keep on asking me questions, and also introduce, as I said, I'm repeating it once again, introduce who you are, introduce what kind of business you run. Let me know the troubles and sales troubles that you're facing, and I will definitely make sure I'm able to customize the session as per your startup, and it's going to be, and I'm going to give you tons of value. So for all those who are joining for the first time and don't know who I am, my name is Dilnawaz Khan. I'm the founder of a company called Codesign Labs and PowerDeck. I'm an entrepreneur with a decade-long experience into design technology and startup incubation space. I have been doing it from a couple of years now. And if you want to learn more about it, I would request to go and follow me on Instagram. The link is running in the ticker below. And also check out my LinkedIn profile. I'll be more than happy if you can go and check out my profiles there as well. So thank you so much for joining on today's episode 11th, which is the 11th one. So what is AMA with DNK and why do I do it? So AMA with DNK is a weekly Saturday night live series that I host exclusively on my YouTube channel, where I talk with startups, and I talk about a lot other things around the startup. So on AMA with DNK, I cover subjects and topics and things that you need to learn in order to become a better entrepreneur. So if you are a student or an aspiring entrepreneur or somebody who's building a company, as in maybe growth stage or early stage, this is the show for you guys. So all those who even are a student, I'm sure you will be able to spare 1 hour every Saturday to learn with me, and I will try and give you tons of value, loads of value, so that you can learn about and ease out your startup journey. So during this 1 hour show, I will of course be answering a lot of questions that you ask me. Otherwise, people also ask me a lot of questions on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all those who are here with me today ask me the questions in live chat, and I will be answering them. So if you have any questions, if you do the chat, feel free to post them into the chat section below, and I'll of course pick them as and when during the session as we progress further. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, most important thing before I jump into the conversation, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please press that red button, go and subscribe to the channel, and also like the video before we move ahead, so that YouTube knows that this is the content worth watching, and more people get the notification for it. So I would really request you'll give you 10 seconds. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go and subscribe the channel, and also drop a like below. All right, I hope you guys can quickly do that for me, and then we will move ahead. Okay, fantastic. So we have a few people now watching us, and we can now move ahead. Perfect. So, guys, today the topic that I'm going to speak about. So, the introduction is done. Now, let's jump into this discussion. So, the topic today I'm going to talk about is acquiring first 100 customers, hacks and secrets. So, uh, as I said, and I'm repeating, give me a brief introduction so that I know and I can modify the content so that you can understand. Most importantly, why you should be watching this session, why you should be listening to me, why you should be learning and attending this session. Because if you are not a funded company, or if you are somebody who does not have tons of money to burn in ads, it is very very important for you to understand how to acquire first 100 customers. And the reason I'm telling you not 10 and not 1,000, because 100 is an optimum number of customers that will help you to sustain your startup. So no matter, and of course, you might agree or disagree with me based on the kind of business model you have. So if you are a B2B company, 100 customers might make or break your game. But if you're a retail company, one time product company, 100 customers might not be enough. But 100 is a good number even from the validation point of view. And also, when I say customers, it is important because if you do not have paying customers, and if you do not have people who can go and validate, it will be difficult for you to figure out whether what you're doing works out or not, right? So today we're going to understand how to reach out to these potential people who will pay you the money. How do we go, and what is the sales funnel, how we reach out to these people, what are the hacks and secrets, so that we can go and get these customers. As I said, especially when you are not a funded company and you don't have tons and tons and tons of money to burn into ads, right? Of course, if you're a funded company, this is not the session for you. I'm kidding. Okay, so before we dive into today's topic, let us also have a quick recap. Let's also uh, understand the quick context and the background. So, in past 10 weeks, if you've been watching my episodes, we have covered a lot of broad pointers which are from the insider's point of view. So, for example, we have spoken about what is a startup. We've spoken about stages of a startup. We have spoken about things to take care of while building a startup. We have spoken about how to think of an idea. We have spoken about how to validate the idea. We have also spoken about how do you find a co-founder, how do you build a great core team, techniques you need to bootstrap, and how to survive. We have also spoken about multiple types of business models and various kind of business models, innovation. We have spoken in brief about market, pricing, competition, how do they affect each other, and most importantly, we've spoken about how to make a pitch deck and raise money. So if you have missed any of my episodes, I would highly recommend you to go and watch them. Of course, later on after the session is done. And also, I've recently done a master class with Nexus and American Center Delhi, which is on how to create an investor ready pitch deck. If you haven't watched that, it's live on my channel. Go and watch that later on. But having said that, in basically in first 10 weeks, what we've covered was more or less an internal working of the startup. These are the internal areas that an entrepreneur needs to introspect. But today we're going to talk about something which is external, something which belongs to the outside world, which is customer and sales. So these are the two quick pointers we're going to talk about in today's session, right? Okay, so before I jump, let me also give you one quote. So Tony Hashish, who's the American entrepreneur and a venture capitalist, and who was the CEO of Zappos, said one line which says, "Customer service should not be just a department; it should be the entire company." So until and unless you are, see why, and why I'm quoting this, because when you start your entrepreneurial journey and when you become an entrepreneur, the sole reason why you started was not the money, was not the fame, was not anything else, but was to solve the problem of the customer and to generate insane customer delight. If you as an entrepreneur not able to solve the customer and not able to reach out to the right customer, then basically there's no company. So without the customer, without the sales, without no money flowing in, there's no company, right? And the reason why I quoted this fellow is his net worth is 840 million dollars. He's almost like a billionaire. So if a guy like that is telling you that you should be insane about the customer experience, you should produce insane delight in terms of customer experience, you should definitely think about it. And I've spoken with so many early stage entrepreneurs in coming in a few past weeks, and because of this corona pandemic, again we've seen a lot of companies have shut down. Lack of financial management, lack of bad sales pipeline, lack of customer experience, a lot of such things lead to the failure of the company. So it is important for all of us to understand that you need to be obsessed with your customer, and that is the only way you can attain success, right? And a lot of you have started now coming in and joining in. Drop in the comments, tell me you're excited about the session. Drop in the comments, let the chat being warmed up, and do let me know who you are so that I can modify. I'm repeating again and again, but I want to make this as a custom session for all of you. So let me know, who you are. Let me know what stage of the startup are you in, and let me know what business you do so I can modify the examples according to you. So before we jump into understanding how to acquire first 100 customers, let us also understand who is a customer. Because a lot of times I see early stage startup founders, especially who are building a tech product, and especially founders who are into a SaaS or a tech game, confuse themselves between a user and a customer and a consumer, right? So this is the reason why I want to talk first about who's a customer. So typically in terms of economics, a customer is basically a recipient of a good, service, or a product. Somebody who basically gets a good, a product, or a service from a seller, a vendor, or a supplier through a financial transaction or exchange for money or some other value exchange. So basically, in order to determine somebody as your customer, you need to have some sort of a transaction happening. And what do we mean by transaction? If the monetary transaction is not happening, that means that there's no customer, then it's just the user. And without the customer, I'm repeating, there's no business, there's no company. So somebody who buys your product and service and enables you to, and understand when I'm saying this, enables you to drive revenue, that person is the customer, right? So I'm repeating, somebody who buys your goods and services and drives revenue for your business is your customer, and that is the most important person. So without customers, there's no without a customer, there's no startup. Without a customer, there's no business. Now, the definition of the customer can change for you based on what kind of company are you, what kind of product do you sell, what kind of services you sell. You can be a B2B company, you can be a B2C company. For all those who do not know, you can be a business to consumer company, which is more like a retail company. You might be selling a biscuit or a t-shirt or things like that, which is typically obtained and used by end customer. You might be a B2B company, which is a business to business, which is typically an enterprise company. You might be selling technology to another business. You might be a back-end supplier to another business. So you're a B2B company. You can be a B2B2C company, which is like you sell to a business which sells it further to the consumer, right? For example, maybe you're selling a cement, or you're selling raw material to a business which then creates a product out of that and consumer. Best example is like at any other ed tech company. And there's another category called C2C, which is consumer to consumer, which is like platforms and marketplaces. It can be things like that. So I've partially spoken about this in the market and business model episode, which is number 3. You can go and check out that later on. We will not talk about this, but what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to build a broad context for all of you, that you need to understand what kind of business model do you have, and also need to understand what kind of what kind of customer do you deal or serve to, right? If you are up till with me if you're with me up till now, give me a thumbs up in the chat and tell me that you've understood it correctly. So what I've told you is that number 1, sales is important, critical. Number 2, customers is important, critical. Number 3, you need to generate insane customer delight. You need to be obsessed with the customer, and that is the only way to be successful. Without sales, there's no business. Without sales, there's no company. Without sales, there's no startup. And most importantly, you need to figure out what kind of model and what kind of customer do you have, whether it's B2B, B2C, C2C, B2B2C, whatever. And then you need to modify your entire strategy accordingly, right? Now, because of the thing and as I'm speaking customer versus consumer, so now let us take a pause and look at who's a consumer or who's a user. So consumer is basically anybody who's using the product, and customer is somebody who's paying for it. So in a few cases, both of these people can be the same. So for example, and I have a couple of examples for you to understand, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you do not understand very very critically who's the customer and who's the consumer and why is he buying your product, you will not be able to reach out to them and sell them, and therefore the entire sales strategy will fail, and therefore the entire company will fail. I hope you are able to understand the gravity of the thing I'm speaking here, right? And I'm quickly repeat what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you do not understand the difference between a consumer, basically who's a user, and a customer, which in a few cases will be the same person and might be different in a few cases based on a business model, you might be you might not be able to reach out to them. And if you're not able to reach out to them, your entire sales strategy might fall apart. It will not work, and if it will not work, you will not get money, and therefore the company will not work and shut down, right? So therefore, so consumers are basically individuals or businesses, as I said, based on a business model, that consume the good or the service. They are the consumer, they use, right? They're the users. But customers are the people who buy, who pay for it. And therefore, acquiring customers is difficult than acquiring users. Users will not pay to you, customers will pay to you. So if you are reaching out to users, let us say you have 1,000 users on the platform, does not, it is a good matrix to show that what you're selling, what you're making works. But until and unless the customer is not paying you to use that, it will be difficult. Now let me try and go a little deeper. Let me try and explain all of these things to you and this concept to you using a couple of examples. So for example, you use an app called a Zomato or a Swiggy, or maybe any other app which is for food delivery, right? So you download the app, you go to Swiggy or you go to Zomato, you punch an order, right? And Swiggy basically the platform. So when I say a platform, it is basically a place where a multiple vendors are listed, and you as a buyer or a customer or a consumer is going and searching for a relevant vendor, right? So you go to a platform, which is a verified platform, trusted platform. You trust the platform, you trust the brand. You go and look at one of the vendors and you make a purchase. You buy a food product because you trust the vendor. Let us say Domino's. You go, you make the payment, and you buy the product, and you eat it. So when you buy, you are a customer, and when you eat it, you also become a consumer and a user. Now imagine you ordered a pizza. Out of five, let us say six slices of pizza, you ate three, and you gave other three to your friend, right? Who didn't pay for it. You paid for it. So therefore, a higher priority will be given to your feedback because you pay for it. So you need to get the value for money in exchange, right? You paid the money, you got the product, you use the product. So in that case, when you are eating the pizza, you are both the consumer oblique user and a customer. But your friend who kind of ate the pizza is just a user or a consumer, and his feedback does not matter that much. So until unless the Domino's is not able to create insane delight for you who's paying, he will be out of business. So therefore, in this case specifically, you are both a consumer and a user, and your friend who ate the pizza but didn't pay for it is just a user. I'll give you another example, another two or three more important examples that will broaden the horizon and thought process for all of you guys. Now, let us say the iPhone 11 gets launched, right? And let me speak about iPhone 11 Pro Max, a product which is almost like a 1,25,000 rupee, right? Now, if as a student you go and buy that product, I'm very sure as a student, until unless you're not a student entrepreneur and making tons of money, you do not fall into the capacity bracket of buying iPhone Pro Max because of the amount of rate it comes at, right? So therefore, what will happen? Your father or your mother or somebody else will gift it to you, somebody who can buy the product, right? So when, if you are a third year student or fourth year student and you get an iPhone Pro Max as a gift, let us say, you are just the user or the consumer, but the customer is somebody else. Now this might not look very very complex, but now let me try and make it more complex to you, and this is the reason why I said students, right? So education is one product across the globe, especially primary education and also the college level education, where customer and user or consumer is never ever ever the same. So for your entire school education and for your entire college education, typically in 90-95% cases, it is your parents who paid for it, but you consumed it. You were the one who was attending the classes, you were the one who was listening to the teacher, you were the one who was reading and doing tests and everything, but your parents were paying for it. So education is just one product. So for example, this is the reason why, if you now look and understand the examples of likes of Byju's and and Whitehead Junior, people and companies who cater to very early stage or very young audience, right? For example, Whitehead Junior is trying to sell coding to 6th or 7th or 10th grade kids, or Byju's, which is basically trying digital primary education. They are not targeting students, but they're running ads for parents, right? So because the parents are going to buy the product for their kids to consume. So education is a complex market to understand. And last but not the least, and which is one of the heated deep debates and a hot debate, which I am sure be you would have understood by now: media, television journalism, right? In television journalism, you are never the customer, or you are so basically you're the channel who's paying for media. So in the conventional traditional media, it is the advertiser who pays. So advertiser is the customer of media, and the channel is the product, or what they give you is the product. And this is the reason why the quality of media has gone down, because the idea behind that product is not to give you the quality, but to give a high eyeballs to the advertiser. So media is a product which is built for the advertiser and not for you. So you are never the customer of media, so therefore media will not have a loyalty towards you. So with these four examples, what I'm trying to make you understand is that there's a huge difference between a customer, a consumer and a user. And therefore, as an entrepreneur, you need to very clearly figure out and understand who's your customer, who's your user, and who's your channel. If you are not able to figure these things out and create an explicit difference between all of them, you might get confused, and you might sell to some wrong person, or sell via wrong channel, or create a wrong communication. And if you do that, you'll not be able to make sales or acquire customers, therefore leading to the failure, right? Did you get what I'm saying? Can you quickly give me a thumbs up in the chat and let me know that you understood what I'm trying to say here, right? So what the quickly summarizing, meanwhile you give me a thumbs up, or you put something in the chat. The point I'm trying to make here is, try and figure out and understand the difference between the customer, the consumer, and the channel, right? So customer versus user. Customer is somebody who's paid, who pays you, right? Why I'm telling you this? Because startups often don't know who their customer is. They consider user to be the customer, wherein it is not the right thing. And based on the business model, they create a wrong business model and wrong sales funnel and wrong channel, and therefore they fail, right? So you need to understand who your customer is, right? Okay, give me a quick thumbs up if you have understood what I've spoken till now, and I will move ahead. And if you have any questions up till now, please give me a thumbs up, or drop your question in the chat. I will be more than happy to pick them up, right? So I hope if you're able to understand this basic fundamental till now let's go a little more deeper, right? I will come on to hacks and secrets, wait for it, right? So now when I say this line, and this is the next part I want to talk about, listen to me very, very carefully. But okay, so before I ask even this thing to you, and even ask you to, how many of you, there are a couple of 15, 16 people watching this, how many of you have tried selling the product, or how many of you have sales exact happening right now? How many of you made sales till now, or how many of you tried to reach out to customers and you failed in buying? Sorry, you failed in selling. Basically, customers didn't buy your product. How many of you kind of tried selling and you were not able to be successful? Give me a quick uh, uh, give me a quick input on the chat, please. How many of you tried making sales but you were not successful, and how many of you tried reaching out to customers but you're not able to do that? The reason I'm asking this, and meanwhile, while you're posting this in the chat, and I will start reading them soon. uh, you will never ever be able to make a sale if you're just selling the product, right? So basically the point I'm trying to make here is that customers never buy a product. Even if you've identified very correctly and very clearly who your customer is, customers don't buy your product. So listen to this line very, very carefully. Customers buy solutions to their problem, which is delivered via your product or service. And this is the reason why most of the startups, most of the companies, most of the businesses fail in selling, because nobody wants to buy a product. People, customer, basically they buy the solution to the problem. And this is the very basic fundamental. Yeah, Mukul, like I'm getting your point, Mukul, what you're trying to say here. And I would appreciate if others can also quickly tell me. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you can quickly tell me if you have tried and make sales, I will help you to kind of decode this entire thing as well. And before I jump, let me repeat, if you haven't liked the video, guys, the couple of people watching, I would request you to like the video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I'll really, really appreciate that. Your like will give a better reach to the video, and more people will be able to get the link to the video. So I would really appreciate if you can quickly give a like and also subscribe the channel. Yep, thank you so much. So let's move ahead. Yep. So what the point I'm trying to make here is that customers don't buy a product. They basically buy a solution to their problems, which is delivered by a product. And I think by now, if you have been watching my other videos, you would have understood this, that customers, when you started as an entrepreneur, or when you started the startup, you were basically trying to solve the problem of the customer. And there's the reason why you exist, right? So it's vice versa. They also don't want to buy a product. They want to get their problem solved. And your product or service just a channel to get that solved. So if you are selling me shoes wherein I already have shoes, I might not buy it. And stay with me till the time I explain this to you. So if you are, and understand, this should basically give you another perspective. So if you're trying to sell me shoes wherein I always have a pair, I will not buy. If you're trying to sell me self-confidence, or a feel good factor, or a delight factor delivered via your shoes, and look at any Nike commercial, look at any Adidas commercial, right? Basically that is the case where I might buy. I'm not saying will buy, I might buy. So I'm repeating this. If you are selling me shoes, right, if you're selling me shoes wherein I already have a pair, I might not buy your shoes. But if you're selling me self confidence, feel good factor, insane delight, I might buy, or I might listen to you, right? So let us look at the campaigns of a couple of famous brands and how do they sell. And this will also give us a lot of learning so that we can create our sales funnel. So Apple never, ever, ever, even if you look at the Apple keynote, which happened like 4 or 5 days ago, they never sell you the iPhone based on the matrices, like a 10 megapixel camera or a 100 megapixel camera or this and that. They never sell you the tech. They always sell it as a lifestyle product. So Apple is not a consumer electronics company. What they sell is they sell you the lifestyle. Similarly, Nike doesn't sell you shoes. And in every ad of Nike, they sell you the athletic brilliance. That is what Nike is known for. The shoe delivers athletic brilliance, right? But they don't sell you a shoe, they sell you athletic brilliance. And this athletic brilliance runs across all of their product, whether it's kit, whether it's clothing, whether it's apparels, whether it is shoes, right? Similarly, Mercedes doesn't sell a car. Hyundai sells a car, Maruti sells a car, Mercedes doesn't sell a car. Mercedes sells a status symbol, or a symbol that you are rich, right? Another example, Coke doesn't sell you a cold drink, right? Or a soft drink. It sells you happiness, right? Delivering happiness. So the point is that your entire sales funnel and sales strategy and sales communication, if it is not basically solving the problem of the customer, which is, as I said, delivered via your product, it will be very, very difficult for you to convince the customer to buy. So what should you do? So you should, number one, of course, should be working on the communication. But the bottom line is the solution to the customer's problem, which can be saving time, saving their money, building reputation, giving them social status, giving them less anxiety, giving them less pain, or taking off their troubles. Anything which is their problem, if you solve that, plus if you give them insane customer delight, you are in business. And all of those who have kind of spoken and said that, hey, we are not able to sell it at a specific price point, guys, people go out and even sell in lakhs of rupees. So that means you are somehow not able to tell people the value for which they would have transacted, right? I hope this clarifies. So if you are able to show the value of your product to the customer, and I will talk in detail about sales, stay with me, they will only pay you for the value they see. So if they're not able to see the value for the which they're getting in terms of the transaction, they will not buy. So I'm repeating, solution to the customer's problem plus insane customer delight, and you are in business, my friends, right? So remember this equation, right? So now, how do you find, and let me now start talking about the frameworks, and then we'll move and talk about the hacks, right? So how do you find the problem of the customer that you can solve, and how do you generate insane customer delight, right? So one, we have already spoken a bit about this in design thinking, which we spoke in the last episode on idea validation, right? So one, all of you who are watching, you should definitely be checking out the design thinking framework, the design thinking diagram. I've already given the links in my previous episode. You can go and check out the resource library of the previous episode, and you will find all the links related to design thinking, right? And even in this episode, all the things I'm saying in terms of links and the reference material, I'll put them into the description below once the video is over, right? So I'll give you the links in the resource library after once this video ends, right? Right. So one, you should be doing design thinking. The second and the most important thing all of you should be making and creating is something called as a value proposition canvas, right? So what is the value proposition canvas? Value proposition canvas is basically a derivative of BMC, which is business model canvas, which enables you to create a diagram that talks about gain relievers and pain relievers and gain creators for the customer. So it's a very simple diagram that enables you to narrow down onto who your customer is and what is he looking for, because without this you will not be able to create a sales pitch for the customer, right? So two things I want to advise you: one, do design thinking; second, create a value proposition canvas, right? If you are able to create a value proposition canvas, you will be able to dig deeper into what your customer is looking for, right? And I'll once again take a quick pause here. I'll look at a couple of questions and inputs and pointers that I've got in chat, and then I'll move ahead, because I know it's little heavy today, but it's important for all of you to understand. I don't want to kind of pump a lot of information for you and want to confuse you. So I'll take a quick 15, 20, 30-second pause. I'll look at the chat. Meanwhile, as I said, I will be linking down all these links and reference material in the video below, so you can come and check it out tomorrow. Right now, looking at the pointers and the questions that have come till now, let me quickly have a look at them. Okay. So there's an input, there's a point from there's a appreciation from Random Vines. He says that he's running a web development company and people are looking at the product at less price. Yes, people would, if you are a generic service provider, people would want to kind of negotiate a lot and they want to kind of give you less money. Rohit says our company is working for farmer welfare and new innovation related agriculture. Great thing, Rohit. I think agri-tech is a hot sector, and agri-tech is definitely going to boom further. I would suggest, and I would also request, Rohit, if you can give me more information about what stage. If you're still here with me, let me know what stage are you in terms of, are you already in revenue, or are you at an idea stage, and if I can answer more questions for you around sales, right? Thank you, Harshit, for the appreciation. I really thank you for this. Uh, and Okay, and there's a question from Random Minds. What should is more important, revenue, profit? Okay, good question from Vines. I think what you're trying to ask is what is important, revenue and profit. See, ultimately, it is you have to be profitable as a company at one point in time. You have to be profitable without. So no matter what kind of revenue you generate, if you're not profitable as a business, it'll be tough for you to survive. You might have 100 crore revenue, but you're running in losses. Does not make sense. So revenue or top line is important for your growth, but profit is important in long run. So both of them are important, and that's the reason why there are different matrices for every company. So in initial stages, I think revenue should be, so initial first 4 or 5 years, revenue should be the success matrix, and later on post 5 years, I think profit should be the success matrix, right? I hope this answers the question. Random Vines. There's another question from Deepanshu. Dipanshu is from Vedvia. We have built our scalable application. Now we're looking to expand. Yes. So Dipanshu, I think I know you personally. I will be answering you how can you create a sales funnel. So stay till the end. I will let you know how can you create a great sales funnel for your business so that you can acquire as many customers as possible. Uh, Yes, Mukul, you're trying to say is absolutely right. You have tried doing sales, but you are not getting good response from the customers because they're showing interest, but when it comes to time, buy the product, they ignore. Yes, and the reason why they're ignoring you, see, ignoring and getting rejected uh, is a part of the sales journey, right? Not everybody will buy your product. Even the conversion is going to be less than 2%. Be ready for the rejection. But if they're ignoring you, that means either they're not seeing enough value in what you're selling, or you're reaching out to the wrong people. That are the only two cases. I'm repeating. Either you are not able to reach out to the right customers, or if they're right, they're not able to see the value, right? If that is the case, in both the cases, I'm repeating, you will never ever be able to make sales, right? And therefore you will not be able to build the business because there'll be no transaction, there'll be no money, right? So yeah, so I think, and I'll tell you how to get that resolved. There's another input from Geeta. Please talk about market for products in South India. Geeta, thank you for your input and thank you for your question. See, I am not a subject expert around probiotics, especially in South India. So I might not be able to, tell you deeper insight. I can research and I can get back to you. My Instagram handle is running below. If you can go and tell me more about your business, your company, if you can send me a pitch deck or send me a website onto Instagram, I'll be more than happy to have a look at that, and I can do my research. I can put my team in place, and I can get back to you by researching a little more around the probiotics thing. But I think, as far as what I know, I think probiotics is a upcoming market. Nutraseptics, if I'm not wrong with the word, is an upcoming market, and because of this corona and everything, people have started consuming more healthy products. People have started becoming more aware about about their health, about immune systems, about consuming healthy products. And I think probiotics is going to grow with time, not just in across India but across the globe. So I think it's a good market to be in right now. Healthcare is a hot sector to be in, right? There's an input from Deepak Kabra. Deepak says, in the e-commerce company, even vendors not thinking about us to sell their product because of the less followers ING. Deepak, I think, see, IG is going to be critical, but I think IG is not going to be the benchmark. You will have to get the sales done, because what you're trying to do with IG, if I can understand clearly, you're trying to do something called as affiliate marketing and influencer marketing. But purely affiliate and influencer marketing will not work for e-commerce businesses anymore, because e-commerce is a crowded sector now, right? Every second guy has an e-commerce store. So you need to create some sort of a channels, you need to have some sort of B2B partnerships and some sort of co-branding which can be done, which enable you to sell. Let me know, Deepak, on Instagram, and I can help you with this. Maybe you can speak tomorrow. We can do a one-on-one. I have a few portfolio companies in my portfolio who are into e-commerce, and we have done quite good strategy. We have built quite good strategies for them, so I can have a look at what you are doing, and I can answer much more in depth, and I can help you create a strategy. How can you kind of execute and get more money and get more sales? Yeah, I'll reply to that. So yeah, so guys, I hope by now you have understood things around customers, buyers, things like that. So now let's move ahead. Let's now look at the deeper strategy. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's now look at now how do you acquire customers. So we have understood who the customer is, we have understood who the user is, we have understood broad things like that, and now let us start looking at the acquisition strategy and how can you build the pipeline for you, for yourself. And all those who have joined later on, all those or maybe who are joining right now, my only request would be like the video, subscribe to the channel, keep on asking your questions, keep the chat warmed up, and keep on giving me your inputs and questions so that I can reply them and as and when possible, right? Okay, so now once you have done all of the things that I've spoken up till now, you have identified who the customer is, you have identified who the user is, you have identified the channel, you have built the unique value proposition canvas, you have built the basic business model canvas, you have done basic design thinking, you have done all the homework, you have done all the basic things. Another important point for you all to do this is because see, understand, as I said in the beginning, you are not a funded company. You don't have tons of money to spray and pray. You don't have tons of money to run Facebook, LinkedIn, and multiple ads, so on and so forth. And therefore you need to have a very laser focused strategy when it comes to acquiring customers. Most importantly, because you have limited time, limited money, and limited manpower, right? And therefore you need to understand that not everybody is a customer, and therefore you need to have a very clear cut customer acquisition strategy, right? So now, step number one for creating a customer acquisition strategy. And this is where I start revealing the hacks and secrets, right? So, first thing you need to get in order to get sales, in order to acquire customers, one, start building your customer persona because you are already low on resources, right? So, what is a customer persona? So, customer persona is basically a fictional representation, right? It is a representation that you create of a potential customer that might buy your product. So, typically, marketeers, marketing teams, and founders and people in general use this customer persona to see and check out the segments of the market and figure out who the right customer is. So, there are multiple aspects of customer persona. As I said, I will give you the framework to create customer persona. I'll put that link in the description of the video later on. Come back once the episode is done and you can have a look. So I'll give you the entire detailed framework of how can you create a customer persona. Step number one, start creating customer persona. The critical components for customer persona are demographics, lifestyle, personality profiling, goals, pain points, information sources, objections. So what do I mean by this? When you are selling to a customer, you should know their demographics, by which I mean you should know their gender, you should know their age, you should know their income, ethnicity, marital status, do they have children, not children, where do they live, what motivates them, things like that. Also you need to know their lifestyle and work style. Who do they work for, what do they, where do they, at what job position they are in, at what decision making authority. Especially this works when you are in a B2B business, right? For example, a few of you here are from services company, right? So as a B2B services company, you will have to either reach out to marketers or brand managers or founders and startup founders, right? So you need to know what level of authority these people hold, right? If you're a B2C company, like a consumer company, you need to know whether or what kind of decision making capability do they have in the consumer space, right? So or you need to know the lifestyle, the work style of all these people. You also need to know the personality profile, like, are they competitive, methodical, spontaneous, are they people's person, not people's person, are they logical, emotional. You need to define their entire personality. You need to also define their goals, what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them, what do they look for, what what makes them buy a product and things like that. You need to know their pain points, information sources, objectives, and things like that. As I said, I will link this entire diagram later on. I don't want to kind of go deeper into it and take a lot more time. So point number one is try and create a customer persona. Once you have created a customer persona, the second thing is to figure out your customer acquisition cost. Now, because you haven't made sales yet, you might not be able to figure out the customer acquisition cost right now. But if you do not have any broad clue about what's the ideal customer acquisition cost, it will be difficult for you to create a benchmark. Now, what is the customer acquisition cost? So customer acquisition cost is basically and I'll give you an example. So for example, you spend 100 rupees on marketing your product and you got 100 customers, right, for 100 rupees. So basically your customer acquisition cost becomes 1 rupee per customer, right? So basically the entire spend you do on marketing divided by the entire customers you got, divide the cost divided by number of customers acquired, will give you the customer acquisition cost, or the money that you spend per customer in acquiring them. Now, if your, and understand this thing very carefully, if your entire customer acquisition cost is is higher than the customer lifetime value, that means the profit you're going to derive out of that customer into the entire journey, you will never be able to make money. And if you're able never able be you and if you're never going to be able to make money, you will be in losses. And this is the reason why all these companies like Paytms, Flipkarts, Ubers of the world are still running in losses, because the customer acquisition cost is much higher than the money they get from the customers. But because they're the funded companies, unlike you who are attending my session, who are early stage entrepreneurs and do not have tons of money to spend in marketing advertising, you will not be able to survive. So therefore, either you go and raise an insane amount of fund, which is tough right now, which is tougher right now, or you kind of figure out the right customer persona, go by the hacks I'm trying to tell you, and then figure out the customer acquisition cost of acquiring per customer, and then see if that customer can pay you that amount of money that makes you profitable, at least gives you a break even. If not, you will end up wasting your own money, you'll end up burning your own money, right? So figure out the customer acquisition cost. As I said, you know, if the lifetime value is lesser than the customer acquisition cost, there's no business, you're losing money. And last important tip here before I move on to the next part, the lower the customer acquisition cost is, the better scalable your business becomes, and therefore the chance of fundability increases. That means investors love businesses that acquire customers at a cheaper cost, or acquire customer at a cost which is less than the market cost, and then can give them repeat sales. The point I'm trying to make here is, if you spend 100 rupees on acquiring a customer, and if your competitor can do it at 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 20 rupees, which is almost like 5 times less than what you are acquiring at, that becomes a faster, scalable, and more fundable company and a business, right? So therefore, the point I'm trying to make here is that you need to figure out the customer acquisition cost, you need to figure out the customer lifetime value. And if you are able to figure these two out, you will be able to create an equation that gives you sales and customers. So by now, what we understood, we will create the customer persona. So we'll figure out the value we create for the customer, we'll create the customer persona, we'll figure out the customer acquisition cost, and then we'll move ahead. Now, next, once this is done, you go and create a sales funnel. So now once you have understood who your broad customer is or how does he look, right? You figure that out. You know who your customer is, you've created the persona, you figured out the broad costing, you go and create a sales funnel, right? Most of the startups do not have a sales funnel in place, or even because they don't even know who the customer is, right? They're typically trying to market at random, or they think marketing is sales, but marketing is not sales, my friends. Marketing is basically you spray and pray. You advertise, you market, you go and talk about a customer. Branding, marketing is not sales. Sales is where you sit across somebody and transact, right? If you're listening to me, if you're watching my episode, you came here because of the marketing. But once you subscribe, right? Once you like my video, you do a transaction, and that is sales, right? This is an example I'm trying to give you. So sales is a transaction, marketing is not a transaction. Understand this thing very, very carefully and very, very clearly, right? If you've understood what I've told you till now, give me a thumbs up in chat, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions up till now, put them into the chat. I know this is a little heavier session today. It might go above your head at certain points, especially if you're an early stage entrepreneur. But As I said, without sales, without customers, there's no company. So it is very, very important for all of you to understand, figure out who the customer is, and eventually overcome the fear of making sales. Because if you do not sell, you will not be in business. Sales is the oxygen for business, my friends. Right? So yeah, if you've understood everything till now, give me a thumbs up in chat. If you have any questions, keep on posting them. I'll make sure I am able to figure out and give you answer to all the questions. Right? So now moving ahead, what is a sales funnel? So sales funnel is basically, in general, if you look at theoretically, it has four parts. Right? So the four parts that sales funnel has, it has got a awareness phase. This is where everybody is stuck and nobody moves beyond this. So awareness phase is basically you go and make your potential customers aware about your product and services. So you have awareness phase, right? Then you have interest phase. This is where once your interested customer now wants to buy a product, or wants to kind of know more and dig deeper, wants to dig deeper into who you are and what you do. Right? This is the phase number two. Then you have a decision phase. Right? So interest phase is basically he wants a demonstration, he wants a free trial, he wants to discuss more about your product, he would evaluate, he would also examine the competitive companies and things like that. Right? Then he will come on to the decision phase. Right? Which is the next phase. He will then decide whether he wants to buy the product or not. And this is where is going to consider pricing. Before this, he was not consider pricing. Before this, he was just making decision. He was just evaluating. So if he's not convinced with the evaluation, he'll not move on to the pricing, and pricing will make or break the game. And I'll tell you the pricing hack as well in some time. Right? And last, once he makes the decision, he will take action. And the action can again be divided into three things. Number one, he will buy a product. That is, the transaction happens. He'll pay you the money, buy the product. Right? Second, once he has brought the product, he will reevaluate. Earlier, he evaluated as a free customer. When he buys, he will evaluate as a buyer. Right? So his evaluation will be more critical once he has brought the product. Before, he was just using it as a free user. And then he will maybe make a repurchase or promote you if he likes it. And if he really gets a super delight about your product, he might go and promote, and he might become an advocate of your product. Right? So four steps, I'm repeating, four steps which are a part of your sales funnel are: awareness, you go and reach out to a potential customer, aware him about your product. Right? Most of the startups fail in even awareing them. Mark, sorry, marketing is not awareness. Marketing is not sales. Understand this, guys. Marketing is different, sales is different. Right? Awareness is a part of sales. Right? Awareness is a part of sales funnel. You need to go and find the right person and make him aware. Once he's aware, he will get interested, he will evaluate, he will dig deeper, he'll look at the competitive product, he'll research online, and then he'll think about whether he wants to buy or not. Once he's interest, he will decide whether he wants to buy or not. And this is where features and pricing and value makes or breaks the entire game. And last but not least, he will take the action, he will buy, he will reevaluate as a customer, and he will maybe promote, talk about it, brag about it based on the kind of delight he got. Right? So if you have understood all these four pointers in about sales funnel, let's move ahead. Meanwhile, give me understood in the chat. Let me know you understood this. Type quickly understood in the chat and we'll move ahead. So now, once you know who your customer is, right? Once you know who your customer is, once you know the customer acquisition cost, once you know the sales funnel, now you start basically acquiring. I'll give you quick 30 seconds to absorb everything up till now, because this is where I conclude on hacks and secrets. Now this is where you start transacting. Now I'm going to tell you tips and tricks for making transactions happen. So if you are with me up till now, and if you're making notes, pull out your notebooks, pull out your pens, start making notes. This is where I tell you the tips and the tricks and the secrets and the hacks. How can you reach out to more and more customers, and how can you reach out and how can you convert them. This is where we begin understanding hacks and secrets. So we have understood the customer, we have understood understood the user, we have understood the value part, we've understood the sales funnel, we have understood the customer acquisition cost. Now we talk about how do we acquire first 100 customers. Why, as I said, why first 100? Because 100 is a very, very important critical number. If you are not able to acquire first 100 customers, especially considering the kind of model you have, you will definitely have a tough time building your business, because without customers there's no business, right? Okay, so let's look at the acquisition strategy, right? So the first strategy, convert the pilot and lead users into customers, right? So in the validation episode, we spoke about, and I've spoken about this in previous couple of episodes as well, that if you do not know, as an early stage entrepreneur, as somebody who's building a company for the first time, as an experiment, maybe if you do not know who your potential customer is, then you should not be building a startup. The reason why I said this is because when you go and start validating, you're able to identify even a couple of prospects, even at a validation stage, right? You go and identify a few people, even at a validation stage, folks, right? So, therefore, first, the lowest hanging fruit and the lowest and the easiest paid customer can be acquired from the people whom you identify during the validation phase. So number one hack, or the number one secret, try and convert and convince the people whom you reached out in the validation stage, try and convert them as customers. That will of course give you an insight how valuable your product is, because the people on whom you validated, even uh, if they are not willing to buy your product, who else will buy, right? So number one thing that I'm trying to tell you is, go and talk to the people, try and convert your pilot clients, your validation people into customers. That is number one, how you should be acquiring customers, right? Second tip, second hack, second secret, might sound a little cliched, but works every time, especially while acquiring first 100 customers. Ask, right? What do we mean by ask? So there are a couple of things which I want to cover in ask. Now, you have built a product, you have built a service, go and talk to your friends, your extended network on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and other people who are in your network, and tell them and showcase your product to them, and see if they're willing to buy that product. I'm not asking for validation. You've already done the validation before. This is now when you start making sales. Go and ask your friends, go and ask your network, go and ask people on Facebook and LinkedIn, but not everybody. I'm repeating, not everybody, based on who your customer persona is. Look at the LinkedIn profiles. Everybody's on LinkedIn these days. Look at the LinkedIn profiles, look at their broad background as per your customer persona, and see if they will be willing to buy your product, or maybe refer you to somebody else who might fall in your customer persona. So ask your friends, ask your network, reach out to people on LinkedIn, reach out to people in your extended networks. If you have acquired a few customers before who got converted from pilot users to your clients, ask for referrals. This strategy, I know, if you're going to reach out to 100 people, 98 will not even reply or help you out, but 2% conversion is like a golden benchmark. If you're able to convert 2% of the people, you are in business, my friends. So therefore, ask your potential customers, your friends, your potential clients, LinkedIn reach outs, maybe referrals from existing clients. Ask and try and give demos and things like that to as many people as possible. It never ever ever fails. I know, as I'm repeating myself, 2% will be the conversion rate, maybe more if you are really good at communication and sales. But this is one strategy which never ever ever fails. Ask, right? A lot of you have a problem about pricing as well. I'll cover that in a bit, right? Third, cold calling oblique cold mailing, right? So a lot of people say that don't cold call or don't cold mail, right? And of course, I'm not asking you to give a call. Call these is little rude. Calling somebody randomly is little rude. But cold mailing works. And why? Because everybody who's a professional read their emails, and if you are able to get to somebody's inbox somehow, consider it to be your chance of making an elevator pitch, right? And but the trick here is, but the hack here is that the mail should be readable. The mail should have a direct call to action. The mail should make sense to them. You should be able to answer the question that why they should read your email, and the entire narrative should be less than, not more, should not take more than their 30 seconds, right? So if you are sending an email which is like a 4 page long mail, trust me, nobody is going to read your email. So cold mailing works like a charm. If you get somebody's email address, trust me, you have technically got a chance to make an elevator pitch to them. But this is where your entire writing style, this is where your entire communication style, this is where your smartness comes into the picture. So cold mailing never ever fails. Cold reach out to LinkedIn, writing reach outs. And I'm talking about, when I say cold reach out on LinkedIn, I mean that people beyond your network, those people are not connected, because all those, with all those people you're connected on LinkedIn, you can write a lot of things in chat. But there's a facility called InMail for all those who do not know. So just a second, folks. Okay, sorry, I didn't put my phone on mute. My bad. Sorry. Yeah. So coming back to the point, so cold mailing, cold mailing never fails. So as I was talking about the LinkedIn part, if you're connected with somebody on LinkedIn, of course you can put and give them a lot of chats. But there's something called as in-mail for all those people who are beyond your network. You can send them in-mail request and write to them. Consider, and I'm repeating this, consider this to be a chance of making an elevator pitch. You have their attention for 10 seconds to 30 seconds. Make it count. Reach out, write cold emails. It works, my friends. It works, right? But as I said, do not they're not liable to reply you. Do not expect 100% people to reply. Even if you're getting 10% reply back on your mail, in your inbox, in your cold email or cold reach out, consider yourself a good communicator and consider it lucky, right? Now, the fourth thing that I'm trying to tell you is, and any more questions, keep posting them in chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Point number 4: a lot of entrepreneurs in early stages, right, want to win the battle on their own, which is not a great strategy. So bartering, cross collaborating, affiliate marketing are a great way, right? So let us say, if you go and do tie up with people, and see if you have more early stage entrepreneurs in your network, go and create cross collaboration techniques. See if you can offer your product at a cheaper price, at a lower rate, to somebody whose channel you can use to acquire more people, right? So barter, cross collaborate, affiliate, maybe try and get to influencers. It's a great way of putting your product into people's hand, other people's hand, right? So barter works like a charm, right? Cross collaboration works like a charm, right? But you need to know, again, I'm repeating, so if you are selling a product worth let us say rupees 10,000, if you barter with somebody whose ticket size 100 rupees, your product would not be sold, because your customer persona is different. So see if both of the companies have a similar customer persona, and if you're able to cross collaborate at a level where you're bundling the product, you're bartering the products, you're selling it via cross collaboration channel and things like that, right? Now, fifth, and this is something I call as a give first strategy, right? So you can always do a beta test, you can always give free trials, you can do a lot of freemium uh, product things out there. A lot of tech startups, a lot of SaaS companies give you a lot of tons of things around beta testing, around free trials, around freemium. Look at companies like Slack or Asana or Flock or Zoho and maybe Zoom and things like that. All of them, maybe StreamYard, the product that I use a paid version, but it has a free package, right? So you can always give first, go and do a trial and pitch your product, because once the customer starts using your product, he's more accustomed to buy. For my initial 3 episodes, I was using a free product for another program, and then I bought StreamYard, and I'm paying like $25. And if I have to tell you combine, almost my company almost spends couple of thousands of rupees just on tech tools, and these are all paid, right? So give a strategy, try and give a free trial to your customer if you're a tech company. Another thing I've seen which works for a lot of services company, if you can give first. By that I mean, in a competitive market, if you're able to showcase the right value, if you can do a free trial or a free sample, or create something that helps you in building association with the potential customer, I think it's a great way. And even in that case, I think leverage other social media platforms. So that's number 6. Leverage social media platform, like create a tons of digital content, write blogs. uh, the lowest hanging fruit here is Quora. I have seen lot of smart people using Quora as acquiring customers, because when somebody is asking a question on Quora, he is a prospect and he's there to he might make a purchase because he's looking for an answer to a question. So you already have a lead. So Quora is again a great place. So Quora, as I said, blogs, digital content, things like that works like a charm. And if you are also able to create and get guest post on couple of social blogs, because understand, see, people look for credibility, people look for social proof, people look for testimonials. So if you are able to create digital content, create digital, uh, I would say, credibility, right? You are in business. There's a higher chance of you getting sales done from your potential customer, right? I am not, in all of these pointers, I'm not telling you to run ads, because I am not talking about digital marketing here. I am not talking about running ads and spending money. All of these things that I've told you are completely free strategies. All you need to do is hustle and hard work, right? So all of these, the 5 strategies I've told you, I'll quickly recap for all of you. Convert your pilot clients into your customers. See if they're able to willing to pay you, because they were the initial users of the product, and if they like the product, they might buy it. So try and convert your pilot clients into the customers. Second, start asking to your direct network, to your extended network. Ask your friends, your network, your connected, go and reach out to people whom you're connected on LinkedIn. Reach out to people who are connected with you on other social media platforms. Of course, they should fall under the customer persona. Get referrals, ask your clients to refer you to other clients. Third is basically write cold emails. Try and reach out to as many people as possible using cold email and cold LinkedIn leads. Fourth is affiliate marketing, barter, cross collaboration. Again, you need to figure out the customer persona, and this is the reason why I emphasized and gave you the entire insight about customer persona. Because if you are reaching out to wrong person, if that customer doesn't fit under your kitty, it will not make sense, because they will not convert eventually, and you'll end up frustrated. And I said, give a strategy, try beta testing, try free trials, try freemium things, promote on WhatsApp, promote on Facebook, promote on LinkedIn groups, join online communities. And last but not the least, try and create tons of digital content, write blogs, write digital content. See if you can establish a credibility online. See if you can answer people's posts on Quora. You can do free webinars, guest posts, and things like that. I'm not talking about ads. Now, coming on to the last part, and then we'll wrap the session. And as I said, if you have any questions up till now, and we'll wrap in next 5 to 10 minutes, post them now so that I have your questions ready before I end, right? Now, 3 things you should remember before doing this entire strategy. I know most of you who are hearing to me would think, or may believe, or might think that, hey, this is not rocket science, right? And of course, building entire startup and even sales has never been a rocket science. It has more been a social science, right? If you are not able to convince another human being in figuring out the value you deliver to him, you will never ever be able to transact. So sales is more of a social science. And if you know how social science works, if you know how communication works, you will be able to deliver the value, you'll be able to convince them, and you will be able to make sales. So 3 things you should remember before you start doing all these things and activities. Don't expect everybody to respond to you. They are not liable to respond to you. They're not bound to respond to you. They might read your emails and ignore. It is fine. Take a step back. It's okay. They might not be interested at that point in time. You keep on doing your job. If they say that, hey, we're not interested, it's okay. Close the entire conversation politely, but understand, keep them in loop in some shape and form, maybe in your marketing emails or newsletters or maybe a quarterly report, because they might, if not buy from you directly, may refer to you at some point in time because you are doing such a great job as a business, right? See, people want to talk about good things. That is how humans work. So don't expect a response initially. Be patient. They will look, they'll watch. Second, as I said, not everybody will buy, not everybody will convert. People with a certain price point, people with a certain price shelling out capacity, people who fit into a customer persona will only buy. And third, you will face tons and tons and tons of rejection. Be patient. A lot of times it takes companies 2 to 3 years in building a successful sales pipeline. You will face a tons of rejection. You are a startup, you are an early stage entrepreneur, you don't have tons of money, so the only thing you have is patience and time and tons of hustle, right? Be okay to face rejections. Now, before I close, let me give you a closure remark. Remember, and why you should focus on all these things that I've told you today, and why today's episode is so important. Sales is the oxygen for your business. If you are not able to make sales, you will die. And acquiring customer and getting customers money is the cheapest. If you think getting investors money or getting a loan is easier and cheap, no. Every money, every penny you raise for your business has a cost attached, and the customer money is the cheapest. That means they give you the money, they buy a product, they put their belief into who you are, they put their trust into you, they pay you, and sometimes if they get insanely delighted, they even promote you. So customers money is the cheapest, it's the best money you can get always, and that is how you should be acquiring your first customers. So generate insane customer delight, make sure you're able to serve them like one on one, make sure product is brag worthy, because people are looking, as I said, and these are my concluding arguments and concluding remarks. People are looking not for the product but the solution to their problem. The solution to the problem is delivered by a product. It has to be a great product, it has to be a desirable product, it has to generate customer insane delight, and that is how you will be able to land as many customers as possible, and that is the strategy, that is the ultimate equation, right? Now, if you are still here with me, I will now start picking up your questions, more questions I've got in the chat. But this definitely brings us to the end, and I'm repeating here once again, if you haven't liked the video before I wrap, like the video so that more and more people are able to watch it later on. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go and press that red button. It doesn't matter to you, it's free, but more and more people will become aware about it. I really appreciate all of you to be here till the end. I really thank you for showing the support to this series aim with DNK. I'm getting a lot of good response even after the session gets over. I get reached out by a lot of people on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, there's a link in the ticker below which running there. Go and subscribe to my account on Instagram. Go and subscribe to the channel, and let me know where I can help you in building a company or a startup. And I hope you understood and got a lot of value in this session today. I have one more question from Deepak, and I'll answer that and we'll wrap then. So I'm putting it on screen. In the COVID situation, when connecting with event planners, physical less possible and calling is not appropriate, do not listen. Okay. In the COVID situation, when connecting with event planners physically, it's less possible and calling is not appropriate, do not listen. Okay. So Deepak, one, in your case, because I know your company and I know your product, one, you should, I think, start, don't cold. As I said, I only said cold emails. I never said cold calling. I think cold calling is a pretty old phenomenon. It's pretty old concept. And if you call somebody at a random time, I think it will not work. So don't cold call people, right? Maybe you can write them an email. The best way is you can write them an email. The best way is if you can figure out if you can reach out to them via email, drop them a properly drafted email with your product, with the services you offer, and most importantly the value bring on the table. See, do not expect to get insanely high price initially if you are in a competitive space, or especially in COVID times, everybody's business has come down, right? So try and deliver as much support as possible at this point in time. Of course, don't go under losses because you also have to build a business. But if you are able to somehow deliver them good amount of value and able to build a great relation here, I think they will buy your product. And I think ultimately they are not your buyers, they are a channel, right? So if you and okay, so let me tell you this, what can I do for you, uh, Deepak? If you can send me, go and watch this episode once again, create your customer persona, create your customer value proposition canvas, create your sales funnel, create your communication strategy, send them to me. I am putting down my email ID in chat for all of you guys who are here. I will be more than happy to have a look at what you uh, Yep. I This is my email ID. I but don't send me random questions. The only thing, as I said, your email communication has to be to the point. It will be only one chance that will make or break the game. So as I said, prepare all of these things. I'm repeating, prepare your value proposition canvas, prepare customer persona, prepare sales strategy, prepare your entire communication strategy, send them to me, let me evaluate. I will help you to create a great customer strategy, great communication strategy, so that you can reach out to as many people as possible, right? Let me help you out there, because I think this would need one-on-one. I can't really answer this just on a live video, but I'm sure I'll be able to help you there. Rupak Agarwal has a question. How do we get the video recording of the session? Rupak, I think the video is already live. This is and later on it will be there. I'm posting the link in the chat. I've already posted this in the chat. You can click onto the link, save the video. Also, you can like the video, you can save the video, you can subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate if you can spread a word about this as well. I will it will stay here even after the live is over, and in fact I will add the links to all the frameworks that I've spoken about. But you need to come back tomorrow and check them, because it will take my team to kind of figure out what I've spoken and kind of add the links. So we'll surely do that. Wait till tomorrow. And the video is not going anywhere. We don't put down the videos. You can come and watch them later on as well, right? There's another question from Geeta. uh, okay, Geeta, it's a very interesting question, very important one. When is it the right time to meet the customers, as we are in very early stage working in product development? Is it fine to talk about the product to people or develop product development then? Okay, so Geeta, I think even if you are into very early stage, it is good time to reach out to potential customers. I'm not saying customers, but you can always go and reach out to potential customers. The reason is that they will also give you a lot of insights in product development. And as I said in one of the episodes I've spoken about, and I can tell you which episode was it. uh, Product development, unlike uh, unlike startup journey, unlike business model, development of business model, and unlike anything else, it's a cyclic process. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you will always be improvising and keep on iterating your product, right? So I think it is fine. You can start reaching out to them into very very early stage. Rather, it is a good strategy, because you will be getting a lot of inputs from the users, right? Only, if you understand, only 1% of the people in the world are able to create something very very unique, right? Rest, everybody build something which is built on top of thing, or people basically are trying to solve efficiencies and things like that, right? uh, Thank you, Rupak. Surely, I'll be looking forward. You can reach out to me on Instagram, or you can directly write an email to me. I'll be more than happy to speak with you and be in touch. So, yeah, I think that's all. If you have any more questions, 10 more seconds to go. And okay, I was giving you the link of that video where I've spoken about the development thing part. Give me a second, Geeta. I'll paste that link in the chat for you to have a look. Uh, Give me a second, please. Yeah, these are the two videos I want to have a look, Geeta. Uh one of them is called Startup Idea Validation Techniques. This is the episode number, I think, 6 or 7. And another is called Market Research and Sectoral Analysis. I'll paste the link for both of you in the chat. Rather, let me put the entire playlist link. You can, uh, and I don't know whether I can pin it from here. No, I can't pin, but I think you will be able to see that in the chat. If you can read the chat, it's already there. So just check out this entire playlist. And there are two videos, as I said: market research and sectoral analysis, and startup idea and idea validation techniques. This is where I have spoken a bit about when you should reach out to customers, right? So I think this will give you a fair enough idea. And if you have more questions, as I said, reach out to me on Instagram. Feel free to kind of get in touch. All right, that's all for today, guys. I think before I leave for today, before I close the session, once again, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate you being here, you coming here and attending this session and speaking and listening to me patiently and asking questions. I really appreciate that. And the only thing I expect in return is drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and spread a word about it. I believe the content I'm trying to create for you, the value I'm trying to bring for you, should deserve a larger and a bigger audience. And you are my customers, right? Who else? So if you are seeing a lot of value in this entire thing that I'm doing, if you like what I'm doing, spread a word about it, share it in your social media, share it in your network, maybe put up an Instagram story. If you are deriving value out of it. So yeah, and once again, thank you so much for joining. So this brings us to the end. Thank you for watching episode number 11 of AMA with DNK. If you, as I said, if you haven't liked the video, like, share, and subscribe. Spread a word about it. Help me reach out to many more people. In the comment section, once the episode is done, let me know what other sessions you want me to cover on. This is episode number 11. We have covered many topics up till now, and then a lot of good topics are in the pipeline. And if you have any questions, reach out to me on other social media platforms, and I will see you next Saturday, folks. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourself. I will see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me on AMA with DNK. Good night.